Hello guys, welcome. I don't know if there is some guys connected. Anyway, I'm doing this live stream to explain a little bit of think about elements. Of course, I'm recording this live stream so you can see also after when you want. I'm doing this live stream because I would like to, of course, I would like to show you the first free upgrade that is incoming, and I think it's pretty nice because it introduces a nice features, a nice feature that can be really useful, I think, and is the opportunity to change the timing of time stretching in this panel for each layers. This opens a lot of nice sound design possibilities because you can select double, half, normal sync mode. So now I'm going to show you, of course, this pretty cool feature that I think will be released in these days. But I hope that the audio is good. If there is some guys connected, please let me know if I'm talking. Anyway, I would like to talk about an important thing. I hope that can be useful because I see that in my preferred forum, which is V forum, that there is a user that has a little problem because hey Cade, hello. Let me know if audio is good. So please help me if I have to change some setting here. Anyway, I would like to help this guy because has this issue, and as I said in the forum, in the chat, in that post, oh great, thank you very much. So I explained that of course Element is a really powerful library. But because it has a fantastic audio engine, really powerful, but of course it requires a lot of CPU because it has a really particular audio engine. But I think that you can work without any problem, as I show usually when I do this live stream, because there are no tricks, no cutting, no video editing. I'm in real time now, so I can show you as I do usual how the library works. If there is some problem, you can see in real time with me now. This because I tried to help this guy, but maybe I in this way it's absolutely better, I think, because I can show what I'm saying. So this guy, I will, is working with a really low latency setting. He is working with 128. Okay, so let me say that, in my opinion, working with 128 samples of buffer size, it's a little bit too low when you are scoring, when you are loading a lot of libraries, a lot of plugins. Usually I work with this value, so 522, because in general, with my experience, for my experience, is the best setting. I don't have a lot of latency. I can play without any problem, but I don't have a stressed CPU. I don't have a stressed machine, because if you use this setting, you are using a really low latency. In particular, if you have a CPU like Xeon processor, this guy is using a iMac Pro which has Xeon processor. The Xeon processor is a fantastic multi-core machine, but this processor works very, very, very bad when you are working on the single core. Unfortunately, when you are in tracking, which means that when you click here and playing, and you are playing, you are using the single core. So on my machine, I've 80 core. Is a really nice machine, but it's not a fantastic machine if I'm talking of the single core. It's a bad machine, this PC, because it's not the best solution for the single core. So I have a similar scenario, I have a similar situation of that, guys. It's not the best CPU to working with really low latency, okay? Anyway, I suggest you to work in general with this setting here, because with these buffer sites you can work without any problem, and this is not valid only with elements but in general. When you are working on a big template, now I'm also Sienna for my headphone calibration. I've SonarWorks for my calibration of my monitors. I've also crossfeed this Canopener Studio to fix my crossfeed on my headphones. So it's a really big session. I have another library loaded. Okay. Thank you, Omati. I think you are using 128 and you don't have any dropout with elements, because maybe you have a nice CPU that works very well with that value. Okay, this is really important because there are some CPU that works in a fantastic way with low latency, but there are other CPU that are really let me say, I'm sorry, shit with low latency. As for example, like my CPU, which is an Intel, I don't remember the name. Let me show you. Is this one, i9 10280 Extreme Edition, which is a pretty powerful CPU, but is a bad CPU if we are talking of one core, okay, which is important during the tracking. And anyway, I don't have any problem because I'm working with the correct setting for my system. So that guy is working on iMac Pro, which has the Xeon processor, which is really bad when you are working with that buffer size. Anyway, now I would like to give you a real-time example as to show you that this library, yeah, it's a little bit, it's powerful, it requires a lot of CPU, but is absolutely usable. There is no problem at all, okay? So this is a little example. I'm creating this loop here. Let me show you, for example, this nice another info. I'm working at the moment Windows 11, so this is my first live stream using Windows 11. So it's also a new thing here to show the library working working on Windows 11. Okay, so now I load this patch, which is cello pattern number 2. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. And this is a 3 layers presets, which is really big because keep in mind that this library work with time stretching, and I'm setting this library with the best time stretching engine possible on Contact. For this reason, there is also Element Light, because Element Light using a little bit different engine with a time stretching that sounds a little bit is a little bit less good, let me say, and Element Light has not order and spectral that are too important filters to change the sound. Okay, so anyway, Element Light is absolutely a light solution if you have a low performing computer. For this reason, if you have CPU spikes for using Element Light, probably is not an Element problem. Maybe you have a buffer size which is a little bit too low, or you are using Contact without multiprocessor support. So this is pretty useful, because I think that this feature maybe in some situation works better if you set in off, but when you are working on big template, as in my case at the moment, I work better if I set on multi-core mode, in particular with this last update, which is 6.6.1. So this is important. Upgrade Contact to the last version, because the 6.6.0 has a CPU issue, an important CPU issue. So remember, upgrade Contact to the last version. So let me show you. For example, take a look at the CPU meter here. Okay, now for example, I play with I can play with Vital, just to give you an example, okay? Because Vital is you know, a really powerful synth, and let me show you Vital in real time. So as you can see here, this is the load on my CPU with Vital. Let me show elements with that patch. Oops. So it's similar. Now I'm going play. You can see, and as you can listen, I'm playing without any problem. Now I'm trying also with hey Sergio, a big difference. There are a lot of different. First of all, Element Ethera Gold is a vocal library, as you know. Yeah, there is a core synth, which is a nice hybrid synth, but is not the same. Elements has a new waveform, have different samples, different features, so it's a completely different library. For example, in Ethera Gold, you have not this cello sound. So really, really simple. The differences between elements and Ethera Gold. First of all, of course, Ethera Gold is the main core of Ethera series is the vocals, is the vocal. So with 512, Now I'm using this big template. Of course, I not have all the tracks activated, and in general I use also a slave machine with VEP, but in this case my secondary machine is not working, is off, is set to off. But anyway, with this setting, in general I can open a lot of tracks, a lot of plugin without any problem. For each tracks I'm using console 1 activated on each tracks. I'm using Valhalla Room 2 instance, Black Hole 7, I don't know, 7th Heaven as a convolution reverb. So it's a big session, of course. Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely more organic, and in general has a completely different wavetable, because the core synth in Thera is absolutely outstanding. But of course, during the developing of that library, the focus on that library was the vocals. Okay. For this reason, there is a big difference between Elements and Hethera, because with this library, I would like to, with this library, I created a really organic library. Okay, let me show you, for example, another example to show how the CPU is loaded now. Now I'm playing 2 tracks together. Okay, so as you can see, I'm doing tracking, I'm playing 2 tracks together in tracking, so I don't have spikes, I don't have any problem. Now I'm going play. I try to record this part. Maybe I can record this part here. Oops, the loop is ended. Okay, let me edit a little bit. I delete this. I don't quantize for now. So now, as you can see during the playback, of course, the CPU load is absolutely different, because now I'm not using the single core, but I'm using all the core on my CPU. Let me show you. So these are 2 tracks really big, because this one is this cello 80 staccato, which has 3 layers, which is this one. Okay, with a native flute on layer 1 and another cello sound layer 2 and layer 3. The second one is another cello pattern with 3 layers. So only these 2 tracks are using a lot of processing, because is the same if you are using 6 contact, because are 6 layers together. So it's not one instrument, but are 6 instruments at the same time. This is important. And now let me show you, for example, now if I click, if I play another library, for example, Arc 1 and 2. So, as you can see, I can play without any problem another library like Arc. Just to explain and to maybe to help that user that has this problem. So my suggestion, I repeat, is the use of these buffer size, because a lower buffer size, in my opinion, is not so useful. You are using also only a stressed buffer size, stressed buffer size for your machine, so it's a little bit not useful, in my opinion. So this is the first suggestion. Buffer size, set your buffer size on this value, 512, and remember to try set your contact to work, the engine here to work on with the multi-support activated here. Okay, of course on my machine is this value. If you have 8 cores, maybe you of course you have to set 8 cores. This is clear, but usually the default mode is off. Try with this setting, because to me works absolutely better. Okay, let me know if you have any question. For example, I would like to give an example with Omnisphere. Let's take a look at the CPU here. And maybe now I can work with element time menu, which is the upgraded version, which has these new feature here, where you can change the timing of the sync mode. And let me show you the differences between, for example, the CPU load of Omnisphere and Elements in this case. Okay, let me play. As you can see, is the same. Let me try with Omnisphere. So, what is the differences between the use of the CPU, for example, of Omnisphere, or in this case, Elements? Because if you see this CPU load, which is the average, you can see this one. Let me try with Omnisphere. Okay, now I try with Elements, time menu, sorry. Okay. In this case, I have spikes here, which I can't hear because it's only it's not a real spikes. So as you can see, the main difference between Omnisphere and the Elements time menu is the use of single core, because maximum value here is the use of the single core when you are in tracking. For this reason, the best setting is the use of that buffer size, because 128 is too low to work with these libraries in general, not only with Elements, because the average is a different load on your CPU, because the average it means all the cores, all the CPU power. But when you are tracking, this is important, the maximum value. And if you are a low latency, a little bit too much low latency, this value is absolutely out control. And this is the reason because I suggest that this is in my opinion, the correct way to work when you are a lot of tracks, when you are working on a scoring template. Yeah, absolutely, Omatric Dream. I'm using these buffer size also when I'm not doing the live stream. Of course, now I'm also in live, so my CPU is a little bit busy also because there is the OBS that is doing the live stream. But anyway, I can play without problem. Let me try with this one. So, for example, let me show this. Let me show you this value here when I'm in tracking. So I record the track here, and then we can see the value without tracking. Quantize this event here. Okay, now I set the record disabled, so I'm not doing a tracking. I'm not playing. So let me take a look at this CPU load. So, just an example. I love the use of this cello pattern. So remember that when you are using this preset here, cello pattern 1, 2, this one, all these cello sounds are of course tempo synced, and you have to play this sound in this way. It's important when you play this sound a little bit with a folk, medieval, Viking style. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. The VUST3 is of course a game changing here, because it's absolutely better now. Finally, contact is VST3, and in my opinion, it's absolutely the right choose. So if you can use the VST3 with the multi-core multiprocessor Subtor VST3 on the best value you have here in my system, and in my other machine, my laptop, sorry, my secondary PC, it's absolutely better. And also on my Mac, because I've also a Mac, it's a Mac Pro trash can, 6 core, and these settings now is absolutely better. Let me show you now the new feature of time menu. Maybe this one. Okay. So with this new free upgrade, there is, let me show you. So now there is, in these days, of course, 0G will release this free upgrade. As you know, there is Element 1, which is the main version, Element 2, which is the light version, Element 3, which is the audio import version. Now there is Elements 4, time menu. I created just some presets for you, just a starting point, because remember, this is a library where the core of this library is the sound design, so it's important if you understand how to create sound without using the presets. But anyway, of course, I created also some presets. Remember to install, of course. There is the installer, and let me show you, for example, this new version. No, sorry, this one. Yeah, of course, absolutely yes. The audio import is pretty cool. Okay, so let me set these to no, I deactivate the equalizer of console 1. So for example, this is the first preset here starting. Now is using this preset is using 3 layers, so it's a big preset because now I'm using also the assignable table on pan 3. Indeed, you can see the panning on the panning effect that is automated by assignable table here with this menu. So now I'm creating this panning without any problem. Is automatic. I'm using any compression of the library for, let me check, maybe yes, a little bit here, just to have a nice, I can set it to off, of course. Now we have not any compression, any compressor on the track. So it's out of the box, just a little bit of low cut here. Let me try with the all the processing in off. So let me explain a little bit this new feature. Of course, let me try with another preset, maybe this one. Okay, so if you click on this icon, you can open the panel. Now I'm using, for example, for layer 1 double value, for layer 2 half value, and the layer 3 sync, which is the standard value. And of course, no sync is useful if you load a different kind of sound, for example a cello sustain, I don't know, or a soundscape here from the raw samples from the layer, and you don't want any synced time, any synced sound. You can use no sync, which means that there is no time stretching. The time stretching is on zero value. So of course you can still use the stretch slider to create sound effect, time stretching sound, but of course you have not synced sound. For example, let me show you this layer in solo. Now I set on sync. Now I set on half. Now I set on double. Okay, so this is pretty nice. Let me try with layer 2. Sync. Half. And double. Let me try with all the layers. Let me set this one on sync. Okay, let me try on this example here, just on the percussion, to have a more clean sound. Maybe it's better if I record this one, because it's really fast, so it's not easy play in sync. I try. Let me try with maybe sync is more clean. Okay, let's delay. Let me try another one. Very nice. Let me. Hey Ron. Let me try in solo just to test. Okay. can see, you can change the time of the tempo synced sound with this element number 4. Okay, now I try with double. Yeah, I think that this, of course, you can use this version of the standalone elements. Of course, when you load time menu, you have not the original snapshot presets, which are absolutely outstanding. So I think that you have to use the elements time menu when you want create sound, maybe, because is a new version with this opportunity here, and maybe when you start with init, it can be nice starting, for example, from a synth sequence here. Okay, now I set this one on half. Or maybe no, I want to set this one to double. And maybe another one on another value, maybe half. Of course, you have to try the best combination. This one is good. I love this one, for example. Let me try to reset all these tests here. I re-record this one. Okay, quantize here, just a little bit. Okay, maybe I can add damage percussion. Layer from damage. Just to show that you can use, of course, elements together, other libraries without any problem. I have buy Atmos from Microsoft. What do you mean? No, Atmos, you are talking of my video on Atmos. Nuendo has the Atmos, Dolby Atmos support. Okay, now I add the elements percussion, tribal percussion here. This one. Maybe I have to cut a little bit the low frequency. Okay. So remember, another suggestion, when you load, for example, this tribal percussion from percussion here, as I said during my first introducing live stream, these percussion are absolutely nice when you play not only one note. Of course you can play one note, of course, but I created this patch to create a little bit of organic sound, so you can play also a lot of notes together, like in this example. Yeah, of course, if you load time menu Omatic, you can use. Now I show you. Of course, with this, now I'm using element 1 without time mode. You can use the stretch here to create this time stretched sound. But anyway, let me try with time menu version. So now I load time menu, and so I'm not the preset, of course, because I don't created that preset, but anyway I can create a new preset now. Let me take a look at the samples. Let me navigate. Where is the perc tribal number 1? This one. Okay. Okay, now I have no sync selected, so it's not synced. Now I click on sync. And of course I have the sequence synced. Okay, let me try with half value. So it's nice to create particular sound. Let me record this part. So I can try better. I duplicate this part here. Of course, the core of this library is the sound design. This is a tribal percussion. I created this sound by sampling a lot of tribal drums, etc. But anyway, you can try to use this sample to create something different. For example, by using the spectral, this is a powerful tool to change the sound. Now I use the sync, so it's normal time. Let me try with double, just to test. So I can play without any issue, as I explained it before. Hey Michael, this free upgrade will be released by 0G in, I think, few days. There will be a email for the users. There will be a link on the website where take this free upgrade. Of course, there are a lot of some files that you have to drag and drop and copy into the root folder, and there is the new installer for the snapshot preset for the time menu version. Of course, all the new users will have the updated version. Okay. Yeah, of course, I can automate the spectral. You can automate the spectral to different way, because you can create, as I explained, you can use the assignable table, but only for one layer at once. For example, if you choose layer 2, then you have to click go, and when you go in play with your session, you have created the automation here. It's pretty cool. Of course, you can drag, you can draw the type of your automation, maybe this one. You can change the timing here, maybe 80. Pretty nice. But if you want to have a automated control here, but right click on mouse, middle ear, please don't remove this assignation here, because this is important to work with the assignable table. So all the standalone factory assignation, please don't remove that. But of course you can add an additional MIDI here, control change. So if you click on this, now I move my keyboard, so middle ear, and let me try, where is my keyboard? Middle ear, I have to set, no, I change my keyboard. Okay, let me try with this setting, or MIDI setting, middle ear, and doesn't work. Why? Because it's not working my keyboard here. Okay, now I have my automation. So I created this automation here, middle ear, right click. Now I move my mini keyboard, and we are ready. Of course, I have to close the spectral here. If you have to set in off, click on go and unlock it. So now is not automated by assignable table. Okay, so I think it's pretty cool. In general, is useful also when, for example, you are working on a session with a faster time, BPM time, maybe 100 120, 130, so you can create an half time when you are working on a really fast session. So this feature is useful also when you want to create a half time when you have a really fast session time. Let me try to show you just some preset, but of course are just starting point. And for example, for Michael that is with us just now, maybe is Michael, for example, has missed the starting of this live stream. So I'm doing this live stream, of course, to explain this new feature, but also to talk about how you have to set correctly your latency, your system latency to work with Elements, but I think in general without any problem, because there is a nice guy on my fantastic and preferred forum that is using Element with a really low latency, a really low buffer size setting here, 128. So I suggest to work with this value, because in general is the best setting, in particular if you don't have a fantastic CPU that works in a fantastic way in single core, because this is pretty important. As I said before, I have a fantastic machine, but is a big CPU with a lot of core, and in general this kind of CPU doesn't work very well on the single core. And when you are in tracking, of course, unfortunately with this technology we are using also the single core, okay? And this is why maybe there are some issue if you are working on a really low latency setting. In general, I don't work with that setting because I have a lot of tracks. I have Sienna reference to calibrate my headphones, so that setting doesn't work to me. It's too low. The best setting is this one, but in general, not only with Element, as I showed before, also with Omnisphere, with Vital. In general, the CPU load is perfect in this way. If I change the buffer size on 128, is a killer setting, and I think that I have a nice machine, is a powerful machine. See, yeah, romantic. Try with absolutely with that setting, 512, because to me, as I said before, and I show, for example, let me try with this cello. I don't have latency, so as you can see, I can play without any problem. Stop, please. I can play very well with this setting. So I'm not a pianist, so I'm not doing a piano concert. Of course, if I'm doing a piano concert, maybe a 64 value is the best solution, because I want a completely free latency system. But in this case, when you are doing scoring, sound design, to me is not a good setting. Too much stress for the CPU in general. This is the best setting in my experience, and as you can see, there are not problem at all. Okay, let me play just a little bit, and then maybe we can go. Yeah, let me show you another presets of the new time mode. Can be nice, maybe. Let me try. Thank you, Kate. Let me try with this one. What is this one? This is pretty strange because that has this. Okay, let me try with this setting here, normal. I don't want damage now, please. Okay. Of course, my CPU here is working, but I don't hear any spikes, and it's normal that is working. Okay, I can quantize just to test with a better timing. This is pretty nice. I love this preset. This is nice, maybe with let me try. Okay. I change my. I'm working on this template, but now I'm using, as I said, my new system, my new Windows 11. So I changed all my library. I have to reallocate some sound here. Let me try with this fantastic solo violin. Oops. What does the input quantize button do? So, nice question. Now I try to explain. Is a nice feature when, for example, you are using a preset like this one, maybe. Let me try with cello processed, so with something of really complex. No, okay, no. Maybe a simple preset, maybe a 18 staccato here. Of course, this is a tempo synced sound, and when you have a little bit of latency, maybe when you play in real time, you don't have a perfect timing, no? Maybe yes. But anyway, there is a little bit of out of sync because I try to play in sync, but I have a little bit of latency. So with input quantize, you can try, because this feature is a sort of quantizer in real time, and has a measure, a value of half time. So can be useful to have a little bit of better timing in play. Let me try. So can be nice, a nice feature just to have a better timing. Anyway, in some case it's useful, but in any case is not useful because, for example, if I want to play these cello 8s on layer 2 in a different way, maybe with this timing here, let me show you. I have to deactivate, sorry. I'm playing the correct, so let me try with another timing, because I want to show you a okay, so yeah, let me show you in this way. Now I play. So if I want to create something of this, maybe a little bit better with a nice timing, please, so I can quantize this fantastic sound, just to give you an example. If I click on input quantize and try maybe to, I can create this one with quantize off. So with input quantize you have a right timing, so you can create this kind of timing here. That can be nice, for example, with these presets. So maybe in some case is absolutely useful, in any case not. Of course, this sound need of maybe a little bit of pre-delay. Let me try with this setting. Yeah, better. Okay. Yeah, it's useful. In particular, when you want a perfect timing. Usually I use input quantize, for example, when maybe I'm using a sequence, maybe, but just maybe, it's not I don't use always, but maybe so if I'm using a sequence like this one, and maybe I want a perfect timing when I play, I can use, but anyway, usually then I quantize. So even if I play a little bit out of sync, then I use, in this case, the quantize to have a perfect timing here. Okay, just in case I would like to explain another maybe aspect of this library. Let's take a look at, of course, I don't want to talk another sound because there are a lot of videos out there, but I would like to explain the classic guitar and the electric guitar category because, in my opinion, are absolutely powerful. In particular, the auto harp, which are a pattern with a live performance. Let me show you. So when you play with this patch, it's so nice playing this way. This way you can create a really organic sound. And in particular, I love creating this sound. For example, I start from this preset harp 1, and I add another layer with a similar sound, maybe a little bit different. Let me try with where is the guitar? Okay. For example, harp number 2, and let me show you. So this is layer 3, which has this sound, and this is layer 2. So now I set, for example, layer 2 on left, sorry, and the layer 3 on right. Love this mix together. It's useful to create a really organic sound. Exactly, a really organic sounding. But for example, you can use the layer 1. Remember that in layer 1 you have a legato mode, which is useful in some case, in particular with the sequence sound. But now, for example, I can add the classic guitar, which is the notes, so the playable instrument, the normal instrument, this one, just to understand. So this is the classic guitar folk sound. But for example, usually I love this setup. For example, classic guitar on a layer, maybe layer 1 or layer 2 is the same, and then I can create this combination, which is a really organic. Of course, you have to play in time. Let me try and play. So I think it's a nice combination, so try this combination. For example, you can start from a preset, maybe classic guitar auto harp, which means, I repeat, that is not using the arpeggiator, it's just a sequence with a real playing by Davide, the musician. So it's a playable loop. And try some combination. Maybe you can start from this layer, and as I'm showing now, I don't know, I add the classic guitar sound to have this, yeah, why not also an electric guitar. Indeed, the electric guitar presets have the same workflow. Now I show you. Okay, yeah, maybe I try with an electric guitar here, maybe an electric 8. Let me try. It's a nice combination, but I can try a lot of different kind of sound. I love this bow sound here. Nice combination. Okay, I want restart. I want only the percussion. Maybe the real preset here, because I would like to show how to create also a nice percussion combination. Let me try with element normal standalone normal elements here. So I have the presets, tribal percussion. Okay, now for example, usually I work in this way. When I created, for example, this part here, I can duplicate it and just try with the same setting. Now I try with another tribal, for example, number 2, which is different. No, sorry. Is this sound. A little bit of compression of the, I want to push the sound. Maybe I can try also with this MIDI. Maybe works. Yeah, not bad. For example, I duplicate another instance. And let me try with maybe another percussion here. Maybe I try with tambourine. Let me try with the same MIDI, just to test. Okay, now I duplicate. As you can see, no CPU problem with this setting. With these buffer size I can work. As you can see, this is a live stream, so I have OBS in real time. I don't have any problem, just to help that guy that is working on that really low latency setting, in my opinion, which is not useful. Let me show you. Drum kit, yes, there are some drum kit, but of course are absolutely particular. There is a nice big box sound. Let me show you. Beatbox and tribal. This usually works nice. For example, with this sound you can create a medieval sound in just 5 minutes. Let me show you. I play it just casual. Okay, I want this one. Okay, for now I don't want the Vox, just I replay, I play better. I want only this sound here that are really natural. Yeah, exactly. Sound instant cult film noir music here. Absolutely. This is for me, in my opinion, to me, the power of this library, because this is the reason why I call it the elements, because are absolutely a lot of sound elements really useful for the modern scoring. So you can create film noir music, I can create a Viking stuff, an electro stuff, sci-fi, I don't know. So a lot of sound design possibilities, but remember, set your buffer size with a good value, not too low, if you want to work really well with this library. But as I said, in general, in my opinion, with a lot of synth and the libraries out there. Just to give you an example of folk sound, let me try with this pattern 1. Also for the guitar, usually I love to add another layer. For example, here I can add another pattern, maybe number 2. And I set the panning just a little bit wide. Let me try this one. can record just a part, just to test. Then I add a little guitar. Usually I quantize, but just only some important note, because of course this is a tempo synced sound, with maybe in some case works better if you quantize, but not always. Maybe this one a little bit. Let me try this way to have the legato mode. Okay, can works. Let me try with no. Okay, this strange sound here, just to test. Yeah, nice. Now I can add, for example, another shallow raw fifth. Click. Okay, really folk. Now I try with maybe that violin by performance sample, just to try how it works into this context with elements. Nice. Just to test another sound, another library. So anyway, now I have to go. I hope that this live it was helpful. Of course, I will do new live maybe in this week, just to play in real time with Element with you. And so remember, of course, this upgrade it will be available for free in these days. But the important, really important focus on this live stream that it's important how you set your buffer size. In general, it's absolutely a suggestion that I feel to give you, because in my opinion the use of lower buffer size is not useful. Then if you want to use these settings, this low setting, of course you can use, but in my experience I work with this value. I don't have any problem. I can work with a lot of libraries, with a lot of plugins. My CPU it's absolutely under control. Of course, Elements it's a really, as you can see, a really powerful library. Of course, it requires a lot of CPU, but is normal because has 3 layers in real time, time stretching, a lot of filters, a lot of controls. But in general, if you have some problems with Element Lite, which is a light version of this library, and maybe you can have spikes with Element Lite edition, of course there is a problem because Elements, as you can see now, I'm working with a lot of Elements tracks. I play it in real time, I create a layering, I'm doing a live stream, so my CPU works fine. So in my opinion this is the way. Okay. Hi Bernie, thank you very much. So this is my suggestion to works with this library, but in general with Vital, for example, Vital, because as you can see and as I showed before, the CPU it's absolutely the same. It's not very. Let me talk about Omnisphere. So we are talking of the same thing though. So of course if you work with that low value, I think you have a lot of problem, but not only with Elements in general. Yeah, Vital is a fantastic synth, but anyway, also Vital is a little bit its power, but when I play a 4 layers sound here, of course my GPU works at same thing with Omnisphere. But as you can see, if you set your machine well with the correct value, you can create also layered sound like in this example. Let me show you. Now for example I work on with Vital, Omnisphere and Elements time menu together. And I don't have spikes. So of course it's an horrible combination now, but anyway works. I'm doing a tracking with 3 tracks, 1 Elements with 2 layers, Omnispheres, Vital. So this is the way, the correct buffer size, because if you are using a lower value you have a problem, but in general. Okay, so I hope that this live stream it was helpful for all the users, and see you next time. So remember that this free upgrade will be out in these days, so take a look at the website, 0G website of course, but I think there will be an email, I don't know, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye, guys. Hi Bernie, hi Omatic, Dream, hi everyone, and thanks for watching. I don't know what you are corrupted. What you mean, Ron Brown? I don't understand. What are you saying? Anyway, now I have to go. Maybe you can explain in chat. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.